This podcast is part of the Blueberry Network, where listeners and podcasters come together. Find out more at blueberrywithnoease.com.
The Eat Sleep Right podcast is brought to you by generous grant from the Built on Dreams Media Network, with additional funding by the Sims Media Foundation, and from the generosity of listeners like you.
Stand by, please. Rolling on 6. On set.
Welcome to Lessons on the Writer's Voice. Gain trusted advice and perspective from writers featured on Eat Sleep Right. Use every moment you can learning the craft of writing by listening while on the go, in your car, at the gym, or while you're on break at work. Eat Sleep Right is here to help you become the writer you've dreamed of being. Eat Sleep Right is also brought to you by the generous cooperation of Writers World's Facebook group. Join Writers World on Facebook, a solicitation-free group for writers of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry, a writing group that concentrates on critiques of posted material. Creating a Goal Worksheet by Randall Andrews, read by Adam Scull. I consider how to help writers beyond the X's and O's. Explaining what a dangling participle is pretty simple compared to the emphasis of buckling down and completing tasks. I can tell you every day that you should write 1,000 words a day and that you should never fail on that endeavor. But if you just aren't wired that way, it will go in one ear and out the other. So, I had an epiphany. What if you could be rewired? Or as they are attempting to do to me, regulate yourself. They have given me a goal worksheet. This goal worksheet is a document I have to fill out with what time I go to sleep and what time I wake up. If it slips into a lack of hours, I'm to regulate it. So how about the writer? What better goal than a goal worksheet? As juvenile as it sounds, don't discredit it. We are visual creatures. Post on your wall, a calendar would work great, a worksheet. On the sheet, put goals on it. Give yourself realistic goals that can be met on a goal of a certain time. Goal number 1, write every day for X number of words. Put a reward, a worthwhile reward next to it for completing every goal you meet, and if your goal is daily writing, give yourself a reward. Goal number 2, goal number 3, goal number 4. Create goals that will make you a better writer. One simple goal is to learn parts of speech. 1 a week. Many of you listening to this wouldn't know how to create past perfect from simple perfect. As a writer, you can tell me, well, I don't need to know parts of speech to be a wonderful storyteller. And although I personally would argue that for the sake of this conversation, I will grant you that you can write with no understanding of the English language, but believe me, you can write better understanding it. Read work that has good cadence. Make it a goal to read the opening chapter of one good book a week. Again, many will say, I read an entire book every week. However, I know that the vast majority of writers never crack a book open. They sit at the computer and think, this writing thing isn't that tough. I don't need to see how Shakespeare, Hemingway, or Faulkner did it. Yes, you do. Writing is only subtle for the untrained. To the trained eye, there is nothing subtle between good writing and bad writing. Some goals may be psychological ones. Many in the Writers World's Facebook group are working up the courage to expose their work for others to read. Make it a goal, and if you receive the critique you most feared, learn from it, and by all means give yourself the biggest reward of all. Go treat yourself for going through the gauntlet of fire. So, what I'm saying is to make a nice clean goal sheet and look at it. Check it off as you accomplish your goals and reward yourself for it. If you're looking for a community that can offer you tools, support, and advice to start your own adventures in writing, then prepare to have the cauldron of your imagination stirred. I started the Eat, Sleep, Write podcast so more people can understand what it's like to be a writer and to get more eyes on your books. My goal is to help you achieve the success you so richly deserve. I salute your success in writing.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Eat, Sleep, Write podcast, located at eatsleepwrite.net. Please send any questions, comments or suggestions to comments@eatsleepwrite.net. Please consider a donation to support the Eat, Sleep, Write podcast. Donations can be sent to our PayPal address at donations@eatsleepwrite.net. Once in a lifetime, the theme music for the Eat, Sleep, Write podcast, courtesy of Stephen Paul, all rights reserved, used by permission. Please join us again for the next edition of the Eat, Sleep, Write podcast.